Hi, everyone. This is the second in our series of interviews with candidates today. And in this segment, we are going to be interviewing two candidates, one from the states, one running for state senate and one running for the assembly. And so we want to take this opportunity. Thank you for joining our Facebook Live. I am Jo Cato. I am the chair of the African Chamber of Commerce Political Action Committee, AFRAPAC, and we are interviewing candidates that are running for office that we feel that we can make an informed decision as a chamber as to whom we should support. It is Facebook Live, so it gives the opportunity for the entire community to listen to these candidates and makes an informed decision. And without further ado, I will introduce both candidates. And the format is going to be you have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive deep into your platform so we can learn more about you. So we'll start off with you, Clara Thomas, and you're running for Senate District 4.
I'll have to correct that. It's Senate District 1 in beautiful North Las Vegas. And yes, I am Claire Thomas, and I am a 42-year resident of the state of Nevada, and I have military experience, of which just under 20 years. I received an early out, honorably discharged. I am proud to say United States Air Force. And I have 2 children that were born and raised here in Nevada, Las Vegas, and I now have 4 grandchildren, 2 girls, 2 boys, that also have been born and raised here. I'm very proud to say that I'm vested in this community, and I look forward to, again, being in the legislature, as I am the best and the most qualified candidate to run for state senate in District 1, which is in beautiful North Las Vegas. And the other thing that I have to say about myself is that my experience tends to come from the 110 bills that I've either sponsored or co-sponsored in the Nevada State Legislature. I know how to work on both sides of the aisle and get people together. I have a bill, Assembly Bill 140, which we will be celebrating Juneteenth shortly. And that bill received 60 votes out of 63. And that's why I say I know how to work both sides of the aisle. So that's a little bit about me. Anything else we'll talk about shortly.
Thank you so much, Clara. Next up, Michonne Montgomery.
Hey,
please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I sure will. Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much to the amazing Jo Cato for having me on this Facebook Live today to meet and discuss, what's going on out here in Assembly District 17. So hello. My name is Michonne Montgomery, and I'm honored to be a candidate for the Nevada State Assembly District 17 right here in North Las Vegas, representing the United States Air Force veterans and all veterans that have decided to call Nevada home, just like myself. So I'm a 20-year veteran. I served honorably in the United States Air Force for 20 years and 9 days. I like to say 20 years was the easy part, but the 9 days is when it got hard, because I did not know we had to make it to the end of the month to get to the retirement, but I did it. And I traveled the world, traveled all over, and made my way to Las Vegas and fell in love and decided that this is where I would establish and call home. And with that in mind, I could have hung my boots anywhere, but I got here, and like I said, the community, the people wrapped their arms around me, and where I find myself being in home and calling a place home, that is where I want to be of service. And so this is my way of continuing to serve and giving back to the community that's given love to me by putting my name on the ballot to represent in the state legislature. I am married. We have my wife and I have 3 kids, 5, 10, and 13 going on 23, right? You have teenagers in your house, you know what that means. But outside of my service, I have had the opportunity to create a small business and where it's a solopreneurship, working with companies all over the world to create cultures of belonging, utilizing diversity, equity, inclusion concepts. And so it is my honor and pleasure and joy to bring all of that and then some more of the education and all the cool things that I got the opportunity to learn, leadership, et cetera, in the military to the state legislature, should I be elected in, and hope to represent the community with all of that energy and love. And so last thing I'll say is, I come to this venture into this space from a place of my heart and love for people. I could have retired and sat still, but when there's a purpose or a calling on your life, you know that you have to follow through with that. And so that's exactly what I'm doing, is moving forward with the thing that I believe I've been called to do, which is just to continue to be available to people. So however things go, you'll see my face out there and you'll see me around, because that's what I believe in. And I believe in supporting this community that's been so good. And we have some work to do. And I look forward to being at the helm of that.
Thank you so much for that answer. So this question is for both of you. You're both veterans. Thank you for your service. How has your time in the military shaped your approach in legislative duties? Claire, you're an existing legislator now. So how has that discipline shaped you? And for Michonne, going into a space that is outside of the military, how do you feel that will shape you to be of service to us in the community? And so go ahead first, Claire.
Thank you so much for that question. And I think that the military, along with my mom, God rest her soul, has shaped my character. And the things that I bring to the legislature that I say my service taught me was, number one, integrity. Number two, loyalty. And number three, respect. And when you can have those three entities in your life, that's your core. That's what you set your standards by. And setting standards is truly something that the public sees. And the public knows that I am who I say I am, and they know that I am an advocate. And the advocacy in me lends to that, which I've said, integrity, loyalty, and respect. And loyalty means a lot, because when you can be loyal to yourself, you are loyal to the people that you represent. And I am about the people that I represent. I'm not about the machine. I'm not about the big lobbyists. I am about the people of the state of Nevada.
Thank you so much. Michonne, that question for you as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joe. So, I, after 20 years, military is what I know. And so I maximize the opportunities that the Air Force offered during my time. So, I got my undergraduate degree in management. I got my master's degree in public administration with a concentration in public policy and governance. I got my diversity, equity, inclusion certification from Cornell University. And so, I like to say dedicated, dynamic, and disciplined. And so, dedication is a big part of what has shaped and made me who I am throughout my service. I was dedicated to 20 years of service, and I intend to be dedicated to the work in the state legislature, but dedicated to Nevadans as a whole. Dynamic, I can't help it. The energy just keeps coming every time I wake up in the morning. I'm so thankful to be here. I like to say I marvel in the deliciousness of life, and I hope to bring that same positive energy and positive aspect to represent the community in the state legislature. And then discipline. I tell you what, if you don't know anything, military members have attuned themselves to discipline and through standards. As Assemblywoman Thomas said, we are trained in a way that says, wake up every morning and do this regimented thing. But I took that a step further during my time in service, and I went and taught leadership skills to our Airman Leadership School in Italy at one of our premier leadership academies. And so I spent 4 years teaching leadership concepts. And so not only did I teach them, but I learned them and I embodied them. So I look forward to bringing those skills to include leadership, but also resilience and mindfulness on how to center ourselves, be of service, because we are self-aware in who we are. And so I wake up my morning with gratitude and thanks each and every day. And I hope to continue to bring that, but also spread that type of love so that we can work together to represent this community. Because listen, regardless regardless of what side you're on, we're here to represent everybody. And that's what this is all about. So I would say leadership, but resilience all day long, and a beautiful smile to accompany all the cool things we're going to do for the community, Joe.
Okay, you touched on cool things. And so
Yeah.
let me ask you this question first. For constituent services,
Yeah.
if elected, how do you plan to stay engaged with your constituents so their voice can be continued to be heard while you're in the legislative session, or even during the off session?
Yeah, Joe, that's great. And thank you for that. And so, one, opportunities like this, right? This is, I think, look at the opportunities that we have. It's 2024, and we don't really have to be disconnected. We can be connected in so many ways. Things just like this, being live, being available. The thing about the legislature that I've learned, right? We don't have assistants. I tell people, call me. This right here is personal cell phone. Call me. I don't have an assistant. I don't have any of that. When you text me, I'm texting back. This is me. And so I also think you have to go out there, but you have to come back and be present in the community. So luckily what's happening here, if you know, like I know, there's always something going on and somewhere to be. I welcome the invitations to be present so that we can have the conversations, be transparent about what's happening. But I tell you what, Joe, this isn't, as you said, the voices, right? This isn't me, Sean's show. This is the people's show, the people's ideas, the people's thoughts. And so I want to make sure we're garnering those thoughts and ideas and bringing those forward when we're up there making decisions and laws that impact the people. So I intend to come back and say, hey, this is what we're doing. How does that affect us? And really look at things from a strategic and critical thinking standpoint.
Okay, thank you for the response. Clara, my question to you, when we talk about economic policies, you have served in the assembly for quite a number of years, and you've gone through quite a few sessions. But when we talk about economic policy on the Senate side of the floor, what are your top priorities for stimulating economic growth and ensuring fiscal responsibility in our silver state of Nevada?
Thank you for that question, Joe. I've had the experience this session to speak with some phenomenal Black-owned business women that are trailblazing this avenue of getting their own entrepreneurship into the system. They are so smart, so intelligent that they have studied and are able to get businesses together. I've gone to so many different eclectic events where I've seen these women. I've seen, and this is when I say eclectic, I mean diverse community. I mean our Filipino community, our Black community, our white entrepreneurs. So many women are so engaged in creating jobs because they know that this is something that will sustain us. And we know what happened during the pandemic when so many people were out of work. These entrepreneurs got together and decided we're not going to allow this to ever happen to us again, where we were left just, basically holding the baton saying, what do we do now? And I have to say that the women are leading. And I think that for us in the legislature, we have to make it easy, not create barriers, not create, a system where we have so many barriers that people cannot attain that. We have to get not only with the state, we have to get with our local government, we have to get with our federal government. We are tired, and this is what I'm hearing, of working in different silos. We actually have to get the one silo where we're all working together. And that's where I am. I'm a person that I want to create a friendly environment for the small business owner. And, when I say women, I include men in there too, but the men already have an avenue. They already have a way to get in and create. Where women, we have to actually encourage them because, hey, my nails, hey, my hair, hey, my I think our self-worth is start with our women.
And those are great points. And you talked about you touched about the pandemic, and you talk about women in business. A lot of our members are in the healthcare sector. Okay. And so I think this was one of the questions they submitted to us. And because you're an existing legislator, I thought this question would be fitting for you. How will you address healthcare disparities? Because right now, a lot of our members, they are in the healthcare space. They're mental health clinics, they're substance abuse clinic, they're quick cares, and so they're PCA companies. How do you plan to, what's your top priority when it comes to addressing healthcare disparities?
Um, Thank you again for that question, Joe, because I think it's a very important aspect in our healthcare. And I have to, unapologetically say I'm a Black woman, and I know that the healthcare industry somehow, some way, always has a tendency of not looking at the minority patients the way they should. And this comes with their training. And I think that, the one bill that I am very, very proud of was the maternal mortality bill, that it was an advisory bill. So what now I want to go back into and say, okay, committee, what did you find out? What can we do to get the medical community to look at how they are perceiving us as patients? Because I think that, we're good patients of the medical industry. And I think that, for, hundreds of years, we've been the catalyst for poor health training and poor health relations with our doctors. And we go in diligently, and we're not perceived the same way. When we tell them we have, an ache or a pain, it's dismissed. It's hereditary or something of that nature. We're not receiving the same health care that we should. And now, with that said, I have a bill that was not, it was heard in HHS, our healthcare committee, but it didn't get to the floor. And I want to bring that back because I think it's necessary for us to find out, we're trying to find out why our Black women are dying at a higher rate. That's the AB 119 bill that I had. And then I want to find out why our Black babies are dying at a higher rate. And I say Black babies, I mean Black, brown, and indigenous babies are dying at a higher rate than our white counterparts. And that's in the state of Nevada. Right now, the CDC has no information in their data bank in Nevada, which looks at race. Every other state has it except Nevada. And I think that that's something that's very important. So when you ask me about healthcare disparities and things of that nature, what would I do in the Senate? That's some of the things that I would like to bring forward because it's necessary, because we are a community that needs that attention. And not that, healthcare, I have all the answers, but I need, as a senator, I need for them to give me the answer to my question, and then that way we can find the solution. And I believe the solution has to do with our medical industry.
There's a lot of work to be done. Ms. Shawn,
Ma'am.
as a veteran, this question is for you. What specific policies do you propose to better serve veterans in the state of Nevada? Because, you know, I volunteer, well, I used to volunteer for an organization, Armed Forces, and we do a celebration every year for our veterans and our first responders in beautiful North Las Vegas. And the constant that you hear is services that veterans need.
Yeah.
So, as a veteran going into a legislative role, what would be some of the priorities that you would be looking at for that specific group?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. And so I recently retired from the United States Air Force. So I retired in November of 2022, and I just made that transition. So November 2022, I became a civilian after 20 years and 9 days of service. And so when you think about that, I had no idea what to expect walking out here. They said it's going to be hard. It's going to be, difficult. It's going to be these things. You could have never imagined it. And so I want you to think about someone who prepared. I educated myself. I did all these things. And I want you to know that there's people who don't get that same opportunity. There's some vets who transition very abruptly, whether that's from healthcare or some form of disciplinary transition, et cetera. They transition fast. And so what I want us to be thinking about is, one, when veterans transition from military to civilian life, that's a process. Mentally, that's a process. Financially, that's a process. When you're talking about homes, et cetera. So we have 200,000 plus veterans here in the state of Nevada. And I think we need to be diligent about providing, when we say resources, what does that mean? Well, let's look at it holistically, Joe, right? If I'm transitioning out, I need to be looking and ensuring that I have housing, but I need to have a job to ensure that I can pay for the bills and the house that I've acquired or home I've acquired, so that I can maintain whatever lifestyle it is that I've created through my military service. I think that's something very important. Education and on-the-job training, or looking at veterans and saying, how does their training equate to the work that is done in the civilian sector? And so, there's a lot of programs out there, Hiring Our Heroes, things like that. And I think we need to make sure that those programs are consistently available to our veterans, so that they can have opportunities to transition into our workforce and bring all of that service and the things that they've learned forward. I also think when we think about veterans and those who have to transition fast or may transition and be in some form of situation and they can't get housing, what are we doing to ensure that we're providing opportunities and pathways to continue living, and so that we don't have veterans on the street? And I will tell you right now that we do. And that makes my stomach hurt, because after serving this country, the last thing that I think, anyone for that matter should be on the street. But, you transition out, and then the community or the country or people, don't take care of you. And I want to make sure we're taking care of those vets. So I think we need to look at, how do we provide additional housing opportunities and things that they can get access to utilizing our VA. And I want us to work closely, and I intend to work closely with Nellis Air Force Base, with Creech, with these entities that exist right here in Southern Nevada, but also throughout the state, to make sure that we're being very, very intentional about taking care of our vets that come here and decide to make this place home. Because just like me, I fell in love. Many other people do. And then another part that's really important, and I'll leave it there, Joe, is our youth. So I was a child of a military member, and so and my dad did 22 years in the Navy. So this is a lifestyle I know, and I know that as a military child, you travel often, all over the place. You get to a new place, and sometimes you're adjusting quickly, or sometimes you're adjusting slowly. Whatever that is, it's an adjustment period. And so our educators and our teachers and our schools need to be prepared to receive students in that are coming from backgrounds that have military members, where they may have a parent that's deploying, or they may have a parent that's going TDY, or someone in and out the house. And that's a struggle on the child, just like it is on the member. And so I want to make sure that our educators are understanding of these types of situations that some of our military students may be coming in with, and we understand how to embrace them into our communities, wrap our arms around them. And guess what? Unfortunately, sometimes they have to go, they have to leave us. So how are our education systems prepared to receive those kids and anything that may be coming with them through healthcare, et cetera, being accessible and able to take care of our families as they make their way to the state of Nevada?
Oh, thank you for that answer, Ms. Shawn. Clara and Ms. Shawn, and to our viewing audience, thank you for taking the time to do one-on-one with us today. The African Chamber of Commerce is proud to endorse your campaign, and we'll be sending official letters and we'll be notifying our members as well. Before we go, will you just give us the next 2 minutes, the next minute and a half? You're military, so you know a minute and a half is a minute and a half. Why we should vote for you, and I'll start with you, Clara.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you so much for the endorsement. I really do appreciate all of that. I think when I tell you that I am the most qualified person for this position, that's not hyperbole. It is the truth. I am the most qualified person. I go in already knowing how the system works. I've been there for 4 years. I've been in the community for 42 years, and I know that I am, in tune with our community. Not only do I have back to school events, I go up to our schools, I go up to read for our students. I go into the community to be in the community, so I know the pulse of the community. It matters. It matters for us to be attuned to what's going on in the community. You can elect people, but if they're not in the community, what can they do for the people in the state? Absolutely nothing. You have to be in the trenches with them. And that's what I learned in the military, that if you are going to be representative of a body, you have to be in the trench with them to know what's going on, to know what's happening in our schools. I go up to the behavioral schools. I go up and hear what the teachers are going through. I go into the community to hear what they're going through. So I am the most qualified, the best qualified. I am a staunch supporter of this community. And I appreciate the endorsement because you know that this is a struggle. This is hard. And no, I don't have an assistant. So when you call me, you're calling me. You're not calling my assistant.
Okay, thank you so much, Clara. Thank you for taking the time with us. And Michonne?
Absolutely. Well, again, hey, thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate this. Thank you to the African Chamber. What a beautiful, I mean, I was like, where's Joe at? So I'm so excited to be here. I was excited to see the email come through, and I appreciate the endorsement. It means a great deal. And listen, we all have a opportunity. I fought 20 years and 9 days for freedoms, right? And we have this opportunity to go and exercise this right to vote. I want to encourage each and every person listening in to exercise that right to go down to the polls and vote. Do your research, ask the questions, watch these things, give us a call, and ask the questions that you may have, so that you can know that you're voting for the best person. I'll tell you, in this race, I am that candidate, and I am excited, overly excited, to continue to be of service to this country. I say dedicated, dynamic, and disciplined. I bring all of that energy to you. I bring my heart to you. I bring every aspect of who I am to this role, and I look forward to it. I did 20 years of service to this country, and I look forward to doing 20 years and more of service for the state of Nevada, through the state assembly, and much, much more. I'll see you out there, because I'm out there. I know you're out there doing the work, and I want to make sure that we have voice and representation in the state legislature. And if you elect me, I'll do that for you. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you for this opportunity. And again, to the African Chamber, thank you for the endorsement. It means the world.
Thank you both so much. We appreciate you spending the time with us. We know you have to go out, knock on doors, phone bank, and all the good stuff. Just reminder to our viewers, early voting is happening now until June 7th, and then election day is June 11th. Good luck to you both.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Namaste. Blessings to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
This today is a very busy day. We're in the middle of early voting, and today is the 3rd, and early voting goes until the 7th of June, and then the actual election day is June 11th. So if you have not yet received your mailing ballot or sample ballot, don't be alarmed. You can still go to any one of the polling station and vote because your record will be at any one of the early voting polling sites. If you're going to the election station, please take somebody with you, one or two people. We want to make sure that people are voting. So next up, we're going to be introducing candidate for City of North Las Vegas, Ward 2, Robert Taylor. And Robert Taylor is going to join us. Hi, Robert.
How you doing? How you doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great. Thank you so much for taking the time
No
to
problem.
join us this afternoon. I know it's busy. You're knocking on doors, you're calling, you're making your phone calls, but
Yes.
we want the community and we want our members to know who Robert is. The African Chamber has endorsed Robert Twix, and we wanted to get you on this platform so everybody can get to know who Robert Twix is.
Yes,
So
yes.
you have 2 minutes to introduce yourself, and then I'll go into a deep dive with some questions for you. I know you have a hard stop, and so we'll make sure we get through all those questions. So 2 minutes to introduce yourself to our viewers.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you, Miss Joe Cato, the Queen. And thank you so much to the African Chamber of Commerce for endorsing me. It means a lot and very appreciated. My name is Robert Taylor, known as Twix. I am born and raised in North Las Vegas. And even better, I'm actually born and raised in Ward 2, which I'm running for. I'm running for Ward 2 of the City of North Las Vegas City Council. I'm from the neighborhood, Regal Estates neighborhood, 409 Rossmorn. I am 46 years old. I'm a proud father and business owner. I've been a business owner, small business owner, for over 23 years now. I'm 46 years old once again. I opened my first barbershop, Fata Mall Barbershop, at the age of 23. At its peak, I've had 6 barbershops and 5 salons and a plethora of other businesses. I've hired over 300 people in all my businesses in general, but in my barbershop salon alone, about 120 people. All right. My platform is community commerce and change. I put community first because community should always be first. I'm running for the void thereof. I feel like from North Las Vegas, it's not that many people from the city where I'm from who represent the city when it comes to small business, when it comes to families and community. So I'm stepping up to the plate and I'm running for that position. And I'm thinking, thank you guys so much for the endorsement, and you have the right one. There are 3 candidates, and I am the clear choice: community, commerce, and change. When it comes to commerce, I'm a business owner. I know how to implement business. I know how to delegate. I know how to come with conclusions and solutions and resolutions when it comes to a business. And at the end, change. It's time for a change. North Las Vegas has built enough warehouses and enough car washes. It's time to build things for the community, and that's why I'm here. We're going to build things for our community to move our community forward, and that's who I am, Robert Taylor. Check my website out, roberttaylorfornevada.com. Let's go.
Thank you, Robert. You have that energy, and I love that energy
Thank you.
about you. So, just for transparency, I met Robert a few years ago, and I can tell you, as an entrepreneur myself, I'm really motivated by him and all
Thank you.
the different things he's doing in our community, not just for business, but he's also doing that for community outreach, engagement, and especially for her youths. So, when we talk about economic development, and you just touched on that in North Las Vegas, North Las Vegas economic development. We have seen a lot of changes over the years in North Las Vegas. So, what are your plans to attract new businesses and industries to North Las Vegas? Because
So,
we look at North Las Vegas now, yes, we have Restaurant Row on Craig Road, and we have a
mhm,
lot of fast food, and we have restaurants that are coming in. But what are we doing what would you do
mhm,
to attract industries, and from those industry we can create jobs so people within our community are not, North Las Vegas is not considered the starter community because it's still considered the starter community. How
yes.
do we elevate ourselves from that?
Thank you for saying that. I totally agree. I feel like North Las Vegas has been treated like the little brother of Las Vegas for years, and it's time for us to grow up. Now, with that being said, I have a thing called the report card I want to implement. And the report card is for business owners like me. The report card allows the business owners to say how many people who they employ of phone calls. I'm getting a lot of phone calls. It's freezing me up. The report card will allow people to know how many people who live in the city of North Las Vegas actually work at their business. And you can have an A to a D. We'll get nobody an F, right? An A to a D. And that way, if a business is going to be on there, they can opt out. But we know by you opting out means that a lot of people working at your business are not from the city. The reason this is important is we need people from North Las Vegas to actually work in North Las Vegas because that goes to the C tax, which helps out our city in general. So that's one thing, pride. We're making pride and having pride for people in North Las Vegas. That's one. Two, we got to have incentives. They've been building downtown North Las Vegas for years. It's not open yet. Hopefully, it'll be open soon. Hopefully, it'll be open by the time I am councilman, right? Now, with that, I went downtown North Las Vegas to have actual business owners who are from the city of North Las Vegas. Restaurant Row is great. I live right here off Craig Road. I love it. But out of all those businesses, there's only one local business out of maybe 25 businesses, and that's the Born and Raised Bar. Shout out to them, right? So we have to do better when it comes to being intentional with getting people opportunities who are from the city of North Las Vegas. And things like this, when people see a councilman and the council in general promoting small businesses like that, it'll make them want to come to North Las Vegas. And that's a great incentive in general. And once I become councilman, yeah, I'm going to find out clever ways we can have real incentives for people to move their business to North Las Vegas. Like Oklahoma, for years, Oklahoma would give people a certain amount of money if they're from the tech industry to move into the state. We can do the same things in North Las Vegas. We just have to be creative. We need someone who thinks outside the box to make a new city, and that's me.
Great points. So I want to touch on public safety. Currently, North Las Vegas, there's an issue on the ballot for North Las Vegas to generate revenue for public safety.
Yes.
That's my understanding. Maybe I'm not, but that's from my understanding from reading this. What initiatives would you implement to improve public safety and reduce crime in our community?
Thank you. And let me go a little further into the context of that, because that's very important. For citizens of North Las Vegas, you'll have two questions asking you yes or no when it comes to continuing the contract. Now, I've been knocking on doors for 2 months, and that's one of the biggest questions that the neighbors ask me, what's up with that? And they don't want to pay more taxes. When you mark yes, you will not pay more taxes. I'm a homeowner. I own my home, so I pay taxes, okay? And I don't want to pay more taxes myself. You will not pay more taxes. All that is making sure that our contract is still the same as it was the last 4 years. Now, with that being said, we should renew both contracts. One's for law enforcement and the other one's for our first responders, so our fire department and everyone. We need to renew that. But here's a caveat a lot of people may not know. The national average for law officers per citizen is 1,000 citizens for every 2 officers. Once again, that's 1,000 citizens for every 2 officers. The last time I checked, North Las Vegas is about 0.9 officers for every 1,000 people, meaning we're less than 1 of 1,000, meaning we're less than 50%, meaning we have an F right now when it comes to our law enforcement. Now, our law enforcement are great. I love a lot of our law enforcement. My frat brothers are police officers. They're doing a great job. But the same way it goes when you have a teacher who has a classroom of 40 students, that teacher always uh, uh, um, educates better when they have a class of 20 students, meaning we need more police officers. So yes, we need to renew this deal we've had to keep our money flowing. But as your councilman, I'm going to look into that budget and see, is there any creative ways, how can we get more of our youth to become police officers? I have an idea called 3-on-3. We have 3 kids from Cheyenne, 3 kids from Mojave, and 3 kids from Canyon Springs, to where they're seniors, and certain, principals pick these 3 children out, well, these 3 youths out, right? And focus on them to get them in a pipeline to become police officers and firemen. That way, every year we got at least 9 new ones from the community. And that's a very big thing also. We have to be intentional with the people we hire. And we need to start hiring police officers and firemen and first responders in general who live in the city. Why? If you live in the city that you are patrolling, 1, you know more people personally. 2, it helps crime go down. Why? Because you could talk to people because they know you. These are all initiatives that we have to do. I'm involved with MMAC. That's with Metro. We meet up about once a month and talk about things we could do when it comes to bridging the gap with law enforcement and community. I was in charge of promoting this huge basketball game with Metro police officers a few months ago. It was very successful with community leaders. These are things that I will do to implement our community patrolling with our law enforcement. We need someone who's talking about these things. We need someone who's not scared to mention these things, and that's me.
Thank you so much for that answer. So I know there's a, even in my community, and I'm glad you took the time to explain those two ballot issues, ballot initiatives,
Mhm.
because I have people in my community. My community, we have a lot of seniors, and trust me,
Yes.
they come to my house asking me, should we vote yes, should we vote no? I haven't taken the time to read up on it, and usually I'm really astute and stay on top of things, but work has just gotten so busy. So thank you for
Okay.
for for explaining what those two ballot initiatives are. Yes, we get the paper in the mail, but I
Right.
think as a resident myself, the city should have done a better job to get the information out to folks. Yes, we get a lot of mail stuffers, but that's not working. So I think my next call is going to be to the city of North Las Vegas. And I have a great relationship with them. So
I
my
agree.
next
Thank
call is
you.
to them to
Thank
say,
you.
hey, you need to do some more work with explaining this to folks. Okay.
Yes.
My
Yes.
next question to you is infrastructure.
Yes.
When we look around, not just North Las Vegas, but we look and we see the entire state, a lot of infrastructure projects are happening right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
How will you ensure the city's infrastructure can support growing population? Because North Las Vegas is considered one of the fastest growing cities. What would your priorities and policies be in terms of support for infrastructure to make sure that it supports our growth?
I think two things. We have to have the community involved because, if you're elected official and you're thinking you're just going off of your thoughts, you can miss it. You can miss what people actually need. So we got to have polls, we got to have surveys. We have to send these surveys out to our constituents to let them know, hey, what streets are congested to you, right? Now, of course, now we could look in certain things with DMV, and the DMV can let us know how many cars pass the street in a certain day. When I opened my first barbershop up when I was 23 years old, I went to the DMV and they let me know about 75,000 cars passed Lake Mead at the time period when I got my barbershop. So the DMV has the stats when it comes to our vehicles. But we have to figure out, okay, we approved this many houses, we approved this many townhouses, we approved this many apartments. When we approve those, of course, most businesses you got to have the parking structures uh, that correspond with the actual business. So if you have a business where you have 20 people coming in, you got to have about 25 parking spaces for that, right? But when it comes to traffic, we have to figure out what does this look like? And we have to get with the experts and come up with a real plan to make sure we don't get congested. Because yes, I want North Las Vegas to thrive. I want North Las Vegas to have a theme park one day. These are all things I want North Las Vegas to have. But in the same token, we have to make sure that we're not working backwards. We want to be forward thinking and forward mind thinking when it comes to infrastructure. And we have to think green. How can we do this without causing more pollution? Right now, I will tell you, I live off of Alexander and Revere. Right now, Alexander stays dusty, period, because of warehouses. And our children, my children, and our children are walking through this pollution daily. So if you think that's bad now, imagine when we do more construction. So we have to start tackling these hard issues right now. And that's something that I have no problem being transparent about and hold me accountable.
And thank you for touching on the dust, because my next question was going to segue into environmental
Yes.
sustainability. What steps would you take to promote environmental sustainability in North Las Vegas?
Thank you. That's an amazing segue to another endorsement I just got from the Sierra Nevada Club, who are all about
Great.
environmental situations. So they just endorsed me out of the three candidates. They see I'm wearing my green
Congratulations.
right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
So
you. So
that's a great question. So let's hear it.
right? So with that, once again, it comes with surveying. One thing I will not do is speak about something on. I have my own thoughts, I have my own ideas. I know the state of Nevada years ago gave people like tax breaks and incentives to go desert landscaping, right? But I don't think we thought that clearly because the more concrete we build and the more trees and plants we knock down, the less oxygen we have. The less oxygen we have, one, is bad for, it makes pollution worse. It's bad for our health, it's bad for our breathing, and it causes less rain. So the more grass, more trees you have, literally it's an ebb and flow when it comes to the environment and causes more rain. So with that being said, we have to think smarter when it comes to our environment. And we have to start, a lot of times where our lawmakers, they'll make laws with a good intent, with great intents, the same way as me as a councilman. I'll do the best I can when it comes to ordinances and approving plans. But we will not know the effects until the future. So because of that, I won't be too hard on anyone, because all we're doing is trying to, if we're on the same page, we're trying to make a better quality of life for everyone. So with that being said, I'll make sure I'll do all the due diligence to figure out how we have the best quality of life when it comes to our environment. And for those who don't know, the best cities in the world have the least traffic. Once again, the best cities in the world have the least traffic. And I don't mean as in population. I mean, as in they have systems of railways and train systems they're using, like in Southern California, the red line to the green line and the blue line. These things can be implemented, especially in the new areas of North Las Vegas, the Apex, which is about to open up. We have to start thinking for our future and for our grandchildren. I believe if these elected officials, including myself, which I do, if we think about our grandchildren, we'll do great. We'll do great initiatives right now. We'll do great planning right now. If you think about your political term, then you're going to just do things to try to sound good, and that's not right, and that's counterproductive of what we're trying to do.
Yes, yes. So let me segue. Great response to that. Let me segue into affordable housing.
Yes.
North Las Vegas has always been considered as the starter community.
Hmm.
And even being the starter community now, you cannot find affordable housing.
Right.
How do you propose to address affordable housing shortage in North Las Vegas?
Great question. So first, let's go with the word affordable. What's affordable to you may not be affordable to me. So when it comes to this conversation, we, not just as in Las Vegas or North Las Vegas, but as in America, we have to get a different word, because that word is tricky, right? If I was a millionaire, it's affordable to me, might not be affordable to someone else, right? So realistic home ownership. Let's be a realistic. So let me say some numbers first, because I'm all about the numbers, right? Because men a lot, women a lot, numbers don't. The average house in North Las Vegas right now is $415,000, right? Meaning you should, to own a house, it has to be 25 to 28% of your income for your mortgage. Meaning you have to at least make $100,000 to purchase a house, right? How many people do you know making $100,000? You might know a few, but how many do you know? Now, with that being said, a lot of our first-time home buyers, it's not existing right now, because you can't even have that dream to make it a goal, and that's not right. So now let's get to the solution and resolutions. There's been other cities already on the East Coast that already have ordinances to where these out-of-town investment companies can't buy up these houses anymore. I do believe we should have a percentage, a very small percentage, if we allow any, right now moving forward, of investor companies to purchase houses. Because when they purchase these houses aren't meant to ever be sold. So quick math, if you have 100 houses and 60 are bought by investment companies, only 40 could be sold. When 40 could be sold, because of that small percentage of houses that can be sold, those houses will go for more money, which makes them more less attainable, which makes them mean they're not affordable. So me as a councilman, I will work with my assembly and my senators to come up with bills, and I will support that when it comes to ordinances to make sure that we can't price ourselves out. We have been pricing ourselves out, and it's getting bad. And if we don't stop it right now, it's going to be real bad for the future and our children and our children's children.
That's good. So, something that is big with us here at the African Chamber, as a lot of our members, a lot of our members are in the healthcare space, and
Yes.
we have members who also have business in North Las Vegas, and they reside in North Las Vegas. When it comes to health and wellness,
Mhm.
how will you improve access to healthcare and promote wellness in North Las Vegas? Is this something where the city council body has the autonomy that they are able to do that, or would you be required to work with other agencies to do that?
Great question. So I will say this on the precise answer, that wouldn't be in my wheelhouse, just as councilman. But me as Robert Taylor, who I am in the community, I'm already a partner with the Southern Nevada Health District. And at my barbershops, I already do blood screenings. We do walks at Craig Ranch Park. I'm doing events at least once a month with the Southern Nevada Health District, promoting the quality of life and being healthy. So these are things that if I were a councilman, my bullhorn and the optics would be even bigger to promote things like this. And if I have to use my own money, I'm okay with that, because I've been doing that already. I've been fighting that fight to give us better health in general. Now, North Las Vegas, has proposed that they're building a new hospital next to the VA hospital. So that will be great. I totally support that. But when it comes to doctors, a lot of people don't know this. The reason Nevada is kind of marked low when it comes to our doctors, no knock on the doctors we have here, is because of our insurance rates. Our doctors pay some of the highest insurance rates in the nation for malpractice lawsuits in the past. The more lawsuits you have in the city, in the state, the higher the insurance is. So because of that, a lot of great doctors want to move to Las Vegas or North Las Vegas or Henderson. They're like, I don't want to pay those premium health insurance rates as a doctor. So we have to figure out some type of creative way to have incentives so we get these really good doctors to North Las Vegas and in general southern Nevada. That way, all my clients when they need an emergency, where do they go? They go to UCLA. They go to Arizona. They always go out of state. And I feel like we have to stop promoting other states and promoting our states, but we have to figure out this problem when it comes to the high insurance for our doctors. But on what I can do, I will make sure that I will do many as health events as possible. For those who see me, I lost 60 pounds from eating right. That's why this shirt is loose. So I'm all about health as well. My father had diabetes and he passed away with both his legs amputated. And I told myself that I'm going to make sure I eat right. And as much as possible, I put the bullhorn out to let people know, listen, it starts in your mind first and then in your body. So you got to be right in your mind where you're eating first before you produce any good results when it comes to being a quality person here in the United States.
Okay. You touched on this earlier, the three
Mhm.
on three in high school for
Yes.
students, right?
Yes.
How do you intend to support local schools and youth programs? Can you touch on that a little bit more? Because I
Yes.
like to hear more about the three on three program or
Yes.
what other programs that you would implement um, as a city council person.
Thank you very much. So, as we speak currently, I am the vice chair of Canyon Springs High School's SOT board. The SOT board is where you have parents, community leaders with the principal and students, where they meet once a month to talk about issues and community events at the school. And I've been the vice chair of Canyon Springs for 2 years at the school. It's been going really good. So, when it comes to their homecomings, their proms, their community events, I'm very a part of all these the planning and organization and promoting these events. So that's something I'm doing already. As a councilman, I will be pretty much the vice chair of the SOT board, all schools in North Las Vegas, high school, junior high school, and elementary. Not in reality, but through my heart, because I will be at all these schools, making sure we promote a better way of thinking. For 20 years plus, I've gone to every single, when I say every single, I mean 100% of every elementary, junior high school, and high school who's asked me to come and speak to our students because our students need someone to speak life into them and they need hope. Without hope, they are hopeless. So I'm doing that as we speak. Anybody could Google me and see what I do all the time with our youth. Canyon Springs last day of school, I made sure I reached out to my friend Brian Harris, who has this game bus. He brought his game bus to Craig Ranch Park, and I told my son's a student at Canyon Springs, to tell all the students at Canyon Springs to go to Craig Ranch Park. They had water guns. I and Brian Harris gave them food and snacks for free to make sure they had a safe last day of school. Because we know last day of school, usually the most violence happens on the first day of school and the last day of school. So we was all hands on deck, and there was no problems at Canyon Springs the last day of school. And that's just me as a concerned father. So imagine as your councilman what we could do. So that's that one part. When it comes to things also promoting our children in school, I was a partner with the North Las Vegas Library for about 3 years, doing a small business entrepreneur in you event to where every quarter, every 3 months, I would get children from the ages of 8 to 18. Now, sometimes it might be 8 to 12 and then 13 to 14, but 8 to 18, where I would tell them my story, how I started being an entrepreneur at technically fourth grade, DJing and cutting hair in sixth grade. But then after I would speak, I would have two other entrepreneurs who are their age and tell them what they're doing right now. And because of that, when they listen to the whole class, they do a little test at the end, and then we give them a certificate, their first certificate of going to an entrepreneur class. These are things that I've been doing as a citizen. So imagine as a councilman what we could do. So that's another thing I'll be doing when it comes to the 3-on-3. That's my whole idea for that was the pipeline. I want to have a pipeline to success. If North Las Vegas building, City Hall has space, I would love to have a little space just for a pipeline. If it's just once a month, to where I have someone from the union, from the iron, from the carpenters union, from the electrical union, from all these different unions come in, and other jobs, careers like me as a barber, beauticians, estheticians, and explain to our youth other options also besides college, right? And have people from the military. I know they recruit, but it's different when you have someone from the community promoting it. Because I am a real promoter, a licensed promoter for years. So I know how to get people to come to events to get tangible information. So all these things are in my wheelhouse as a community leader already. That's why it makes sense for me to be the councilman, because I'm already doing these things as we speak.
Ah, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're just joining us, we are tuned in to Facebook Live with the African Chamber of Commerce. I am Joe Cato, the chair for the African Chamber of Commerce Political Action Committee. And with me on the screen on the live right now is Robert Twix Taylor, and he is running for City Council of North Las Vegas, Ward 2. The African Chamber endorsed Mr. Taylor, and we're excited, and we just want to make sure that we support your candidacy and we get you elected to office. Before we go, because I know you have a hard stop, just before you go, just tell us in 2 minutes for our viewers, why should we vote for you?
You should vote for me because I am like you. If you're watching this, that means you're a concerned citizen, and that means you took your time to make sure the right people are running. Because of that, I'm running to fill in the void. I'm filling in the void from someone from the community for the community. It's hard, and I will not exaggerate this. It's hard to find someone like Joe Cato, who's a entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur who also cares about the community. Those things are kind of like they don't happen that much, and I am one of those people. So I understand how to run a business, and when you run the city, that's a business, but you got to have the community first. I'm tired of these warehouses getting built. Great job, we built enough, but now it's time to build things for the community. I'm tired of going to council meetings or watching them via YouTube or on the website, and it's only about 8 people at these council meetings. They're making decisions that involve us, that will affect our quality of life. And you need someone who's there when you're not there. And that's the biggest reason why you should vote for me. And that's the biggest reason I think the African Chamber of Commerce endorsed me, because they know when they're not there, they have representation. You should have representation with a reputation. And I am the clear choice, Robert Twix Taylor. Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you so much for taking the time, and good luck.
Thank you. You guys be
Okay,
good.
good. Bye bye. Well, thank you so much for joining. We have one more segment left. We have the Clark County School Board next up. And if you're just joining us, thank you for joining. I am Joe Cato. I'm the chair of the African Chamber of Commerce Political Action Committee, and we are interviewing candidates that are running for office, candidates based on our review that the African Chamber felt those are the candidates that we want to endorse. We will post our list of all the candidates that we have endorsed, but these are the candidates that were able to join us. But we have had the opportunity to talk to other candidates that we have endorsed as well. So we'll go ahead and post our list of endorsed candidates. But we wanted to, in some of those races that are really heated, we wanted to have those conversations so our members and non-members can get to know these folks. So the next race is our school board. But if you have not received your sample ballots, not to worry. You can go to any one of the early voting sites, and your name will be on the list, the registration list. So not to worry. So early voting runs through June 7th, and election day is May 11th. Up next is our Clark County School Board races, and we are going to introduce our Tamika Henry, who is running for School Board Trustee, District C. Thank you for joining us, Tamika. You have 2 minutes to introduce yourself to our viewing audience and to our members, and then we do a deep dive into our interview. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much, Ms. Cato. Hello, everyone. My name is Tamika Henry. I'm your candidate for school board trustee in District C. I'm a native of Las Vegas, mother of four. I'm a wife, and I am running for this office because I know that we want to see change within our district. I have a lot of knowledge and experience, and I'm ready to do this job. My daytime job, I'm a executive director of a nonprofit called the Abodo Collective, and we run a community garden in the historic West Side. But we also assist families with much needed resources, including housing justice, food security, and access to educational opportunities. So I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm looking forward to your support and your vote for school board trustee in District C.
Thank you so much, Miss Henry. Next up, we have my emerged sister, Eileen Eddy. Are you there, Eileen? I don't.
Yes.
Oh, I can't see you, but we can hear you.
Here we
Oh,
go.
there you are. Okay, so thank you for joining us. You have 2 minutes to introduce yourself, and then we'll do a deep dive. Let us know which school board office you're running for, and then we'll do a deep dive into our questions.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Eileen Eady, and I am running for Clark County School District Board Trustee in District B, which is north of Lone Mountain, from the mountain to Mesquite. So it's a really big district. So up in the northern part of the county. I hope to earn your vote because I feel that putting educators in the seat so that they can make decisions is just paramount. And as a career educator, I'm ready to get on board and start making some changes and work so that we can, let our teachers feel valued and rewarded, and make sure that every kiddo has a chance at a great education and a great life, regardless of a zip code. Thank you.
Okay. So the school board is one of those races that I call it the silent race because a lot of times we don't have a really big turnout for school board races. But that specific office is the most impacting office, I believe, in our local community because that has to deal with our education of our youth, our children, right? So I know when it comes to the school budget and budget management, that's a hot topic. How will you ensure the school district budget is managed effectively and with transparency? Because in my opinion, there's no transparency. And this is just Joe Cato's opinion, not the chamber, not anybody. This is Joe, the individual. Then I'll have you answer that question and I'll have Tamika chime in as well.
Okay. Do you want to let Tamika go first since
Yes.
she spoke first?
No. You can go first and then I'll get Tamika on it.
Oh, okay. Okay. It is a big budget, and you're right. And I think that one of the things that I would like to do is go in and look at where we're spending the money and where we can allocate those services better. I think that we need to be making sure that we're paying our teachers the way that we should. We need to make sure the staffing is handled. Safety issues, all of that is staffing. So we need to make sure staffing is handled. I would like to see us make sure that the funding at each school is adequate and working the right way. I'm also going to rely on the other board members who are there. We have some very qualified people. And as an educator, of course, I've never worked with a budget that huge. Has anybody really? It's such a huge budget. But I'm looking forward to working with the other committee members and making sure that we are putting students and the teachers at the front of our decisions when we're allocating funding and making sure it goes into the right spots so it's going to benefit our kiddos the most. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the question. Transparency is important. No, I don't have experience working with a multi-billion-dollar budget, but multi-million dollars, yes, through my experience with serving on the board for Osceola Learning, Clark County Head Start, and on the Head Start Incorporated level. So it is important that we allocate dollars to the areas where they are needed the most. We really want to push for student outcomes. We need to make sure that our teachers are being compensated fairly and appropriately, and our support staff. And when we're talking about transparency, even right now, we have bus drivers who will be out of work for some of them for the summer. Um, we need to be transparent on what their contracts look like. It's a 9-month position, helping them to make sure that they know for those 3 months, you will need to find other ways to supplement your income. And they shouldn't have to find out, you know, 2 days ago. It's not appropriate. So just being transparent and upfront with everyone. And also with that, making sure that that information is getting out into the communities and to our families. Everyone can't make it to a school board meeting. And even if they do, they don't understand how to read what is being given out. So it's important that we are sharing this information in a way that it is digestible to our community members, and also just making sure that we continue to be good stewards of public funds.
For our viewing audience that have just joined us, Tamika Henry and Eileen Ady, they are not, what's the word? They're not in the same race. They're not
No.
opponents. So Tamika is in District C, right? And
Yes,
Eileen is
correct.
in District B. Okay, so they're two separate offices. I'm getting inboxes asking me.
Okay.
So make sure you preface every comment by saying district, say your district. So our
District
viewers can, because
C.
I'm getting the text. Are they running against each other? No, they're not. They're two different races, right?
Yes.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is something different. And I'll have both of you go through this. Instead of reading questions and coming up with these questions, tell us about your platform. And then from your platform, I'll ask those questions. So I'll start with you, Eileen. Tell us about your platform. What is your platform and why are you running? And then Tamika, you do the same. And then I'll ask the question from those, because it makes better sense so that we understand what you're standing on. And so we can ask those questions to see if it's aligned with our vision and what our members' vision is, right? So Eileen, I'll start with you.
Sure. So one of the things I want to work on, of course, is making sure that the schools are staffed. When we talk about anything from safety to outcomes, all of those are affected by staffing at the schools. So I would like to make that a priority. We need to recruit and retain good staff members. So I would like to see that happen. One of the other things that I would like to work on is making sure that parents have more access to the resources that are available. They are underused right now, but instead of saying, why aren't the parents using those resources? I want to know, what are we doing that's not helping the parents have access to those resources? What do we need to do to make sure that we're putting those into the hands of the people they belong to in the most efficient way, and making sure things are easier to navigate? I do want transparency and accountability. I think that as long as you are being open and honest about everything, you are going to represent the constituents in your community and the parents and families like you're supposed to. One of the other things that I would like to work on is getting early learning programs that work on social emotional learning. And I know everybody says, oh, why do we need to focus on that? We need to focus on that because we have kids coming out of a time of isolation and there are social skills that they're lacking. And I'm sure Tamika can speak to that, being on the board of a Head Start program. They are seeing a lot of behaviors now that they haven't seen in decades. And so we need to make sure that we're putting those social emotional programs in place so that the kiddos can work together and be in a social setting and not be so overwhelmed, because it is overwhelming coming into the schools. And so those are basically the things that I would like to work on. My big point is that I want to look at every single situation that comes across the dais and say, how's this benefiting our students and how's this benefiting our teachers? And if we can't answer that question, we need to go back and figure it out and then come back with an answer to that question, because every single decision we make comes back to that. How is this going to benefit our teachers and our students? And I agree with you about school board being one of the most important things. The way to move our society forward is to have an educated society, and we do that by investing in our public schools and working all together. I hope that I answered a lot of those questions, but I'm really big on accessibility. I would like to do Finance Fridays every once in a while so people can understand how the budget goes and things like that. So thank you.
Yes, it's good. Tamika?
Yes. Okay, you spoke to, early interventions and early childhood education, and access to that is so very important to me. I know that that's something that was life changing for myself and my family, and so I do want our students to have access to high quality education. That's absolutely important. Also, teacher and staff retention. Um, is important to me. We need to retain the quality staff members that we do have, as well as focus on recruitment. And also, family and community engagement is something that's important to me, because families, we are our students' first teacher, and education should be it should really be a partnership. And we need to make sure that our families do have access to those resources that are available within our district, but also making sure that the district is getting out into the communities and partnering with community organizations, nonprofit organizations, also those mentorship organizations who can provide wraparound support and services, as well as those mentorship opportunities for students. So I'm a true believer in just that access to high quality education, no matter a student's zip code. Everyone will not have access to the magnet schools that do exist. It's like a lottery. It is a lottery, and everyone won't have that. But there are families who have barriers that exist, and we just want to make sure that no matter which school they have to go to, that there are well staffed, qualified, and certified staff members. We want to make sure that the resources that they need are available. We want to make sure that families feel that they're being engaged and they're being supported. And those are the things that really matter the most to me. And again, I'm running for a school board trustee. I'm in District C.
Okay, thank you for saying that. So, one of the things you did not, well, I haven't heard yet is what are your plans to improve special education services in our school? And this question goes to both candidates. And I'll start with you, Eileen.
Whoa,
Oh,
my goodness.
you're there?
You're fine.
There you are. You're
You're fine.
fine. You're fine. Go
You're
on.
fine.
I thought we were through all of these goofs up when we finished COVID, right? I guess we're not.
No,
No. See,
no.
you have to phone bank, you have to go out, knock on doors. So this is so much easier. When you're done, you dash, you go back to the phones and you start making those phone calls.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
for special education,
this is
what are your plans to improve special education within our school district?
sure. This is a near and dear to my heart question. I taught special ed for 15 years, and my kiddos are neurodivergent, so we're very familiar with the special ed programs here in Clark County. Um, I want to see the room staffed, first of all, because that's where the shortages are, and that's where it's the most important thing. I want to talk to the parents and make sure that when they're sitting in these SOT meetings, they're really advocating for the resources that they need, but they also know how to get those. We need to really look at how we're staffing our special education programs, who we're putting into those classrooms, and we need to try and make sure we're getting qualified people. And like Tamika said, we've got to recruit better people. And I'm in District B, we're not running against each other. So, but we need to work on staffing those programs and then getting quality interventions in place so that we're not getting as many kids into those programs. But special ed really requires a really firm look at staffing, and it requires an understanding of what the qualifications are and what we need from those people. And we do need to pay them better. We need to pay the paraprofessionals better. Those jobs are things not everybody wants to do, and a lot of people couldn't do. So we really need to work on that. But I love special ed. That's my that's
Yes, I agree. I agree, Eileen. Those quality and early interventions are best and most important. The earlier that we can make those, the earlier that those referrals can be done, and we get those IEPs in place, the better. So families and the schools can start working on those issues that children are experiencing. We do have to have staff to make sure that we are able to meet the needs of our students who are in these programs, making sure that the families understand their IEPs, making sure that they have the resources inside the classroom and outside of the classroom to ensure that that their IEPs are being adhered to. So that's something that's extremely important. But we can't do it without having the proper staff members in place. And so that's that's what's most important. Making sure that we are making those bold investments, making sure that they're made early, and so we can start helping those students even sooner.
Hmm, good. So, when we talk about equity in education, what measures will you take to ensure all students have equity, have quality education? Because that's a disparity here in Clark County, and that's one of the hot button topics. I might not go to the meetings, but I follow the meetings online. And I know when to send in my letter. My children are a product of the Clark County School District and Head Start. Okay.
Yes.
So, what when it comes to equity in education, what would be your measures to ensure all students have quality education?
Well, I'm sorry, Tamika here, District C. Again, making sure that our classrooms are staffed. A lot of my schools are within the inner city, within the inner.
Oops.
Here I go.
Go again. Go again. Sorry.
There are some schools who there's this great exodus that is happening at these schools, and I really do feel that there should be incentives in place for for those educators to come to those schools within the inner city that have a higher need. That's I mean, that's very important. There are some schools, Ms. Joe, there are some schools in my district where third graders, only 9% of third graders are on track or above level in reading for third grade. And it's like, why is that? And when I look at data in other areas, they're as high as 80%. And so it's like, what is happening here in the inner city? And when I look at the data and you see that the classrooms often have long-term subs or they don't have a full staff of licensed educators, that it makes me pause. It's like we need to make sure that we have incentives in place for people to want to come to these schools. That's number one. Making sure that they are well resourced. I do visit schools often. My kids have attended schools within District C, but also in Centennial Hills. There's a difference, and there shouldn't be. You know, in the buildings, in the resources that are there, and it's like we're all from the same school district. So what's up with that? So it's really calling those things out when you see it. Um, Working with local businesses, because I know that schools in other areas have relationships with the businesses that are in the area, and they donate often. And we need to build those relationships, more relationships within our districts to make sure that we get those additional funds as well. So our schools, there has been an increase to the budget. We just need to make sure that the decisions that are being made at the school level, because the SOTs have that opportunity to make decisions on their budgets at the school level to make sure that they're getting the things that they need. So making sure that parents know that their voices need to be uplifted and utilized, and make sure that those
I
that's
know
my
it's okay.
baby.
So, for people that are viewing and they don't know what SOTs are, what's SOTs?
Yeah, so the school organizational teams,
Okay.
school organizational teams, and I have been a member at my students' schools. Um, over the past 8 years now,
Mhm.
And just making sure that parents have a voice when those decisions are being made. So the SOTs are made up of staff members, it's administrator, there's educators, there's support staff, there's parents. Some have community members, but also those middle and high school, they do have a student representative as well. And so, and that's just to ensure that decisions are being made at the school level on the budget. Like you, if you're there and you're present, you know the things that you need. If you need an interventionist, if you need like a literary specialist, make those decisions at that table. So it's just another level of making decisions and supporting the
Right.
district.
For decisions with transparency. And I'll ask Eileen the same question when it comes to equity in education. As a school board trustee, what would be, what measures would you be taking?
Good question. Thank you.
Mhm.
So District B, north part of the county, Mountain to Mesquite. Uh, that's what we're talking about.
And
Tamika's
North
right.
Las Vegas, it includes North
North
Las
Las
Vegas
Vegas.
as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Not as much as it used to. I was really surprised when
Yeah.
we kind of lost a big chunk down into the other section. But yeah, a lot of North Las Vegas too. And there are severe discrepancies between the schools in North Las Vegas and the schools. My kiddo goes to Centennial, so we see those discrepancies even between Arborview and Centennial. And at the elementary schools, it's even more different. And so I want to look at the outcomes. I want to look at which schools are not doing well, the schools that are having reading issues or issues with those students meeting those reading milestones and the math milestones. We want to make sure that they're getting the staffing that they need, and we want to make sure they're getting the quality staff that they need. But also, it's important to bring in all of those components, right? And I love that Tamika mentioned working with members of the community and nonprofits within the community, because when we're looking at outcomes and we're looking at things and we're saying we've got to get more people in the building, right? And while we wait to get more people in the building, and while we have to wait for more funding to come through, we can rely on those people in the community to partner with us. It's really easy to train somebody to come in and work on phonics. And I do think we need to make things more accessible and easier for people to come in, because we can build a community school if we make it easier for family members and members of the community to come in and give it a hands-on approach. And also, I want to hold trainings so that parents know how to be involved in those SOT meetings, because they don't know a lot. A lot of them don't know about it. They don't know that they have a voice. They don't know that once they express their opinion at that SOT meeting, there's another step they can go through to make sure that things are getting, that we're holding those teams accountable. But yeah, when we're talking about that, we've really got to come up with some really big ideas about how we're going to fix these things, because we know it's an issue, but we need to also, what's not working, what in our curriculum needs to change, what doesn't reflect what our students' lives are, and how can we make that more relatable.
Yeah. So school safety is a biggie in Clark County. How do you plan to enhance safety and security in our schools? Because oftentimes, with phones nowadays, back in the days, you just never knew what happened. But now when you see phones and you've seen digital social media, there's so many things that are happening. And I would look at these videos, my daughter would show me, and I would be like, well, is nobody there to kind of stop what is happening? When it comes to school safety, what plans do you have to combat that? And Tamika, you can go first.
Thank you so much. With that, I've gotten that question like so many times, and it's like, what is what would be the perfect scenario? And for me, adding more police to our campus is not the answer. And I do feel that we do need more adult presence, there, like by having our schools fully staffed, where the support staff are not having to fill in for teachers, where hall monitors are actually able to do their jobs. I just also feel, the physical safety is important, but the mental safety of our students and our staff members is important. So just having those safe spaces on campus is something that I would be supportive of. But I would like to work with our community members and our district to come up with those viable solutions that can be sustained. It's not always adding more people with guns onto our campus. So yes, willing to have more conversations around that. Would like to host a roundtable around it. Because our student and our school safety is important.
If you should have a round table, count me in.
Yes.
Eileen, school safety.
I District B, north part
Yeah.
of the county, including North Las Vegas, Mesquite, Moapa. So, Tamika's right. It is staffing, right? We have to look at that. I think there's another component too, in addition to working with the community, and when we do need bodies in the building, I agree 100% all of those things. I think additionally working in that social emotional learning component and starting it early on when they're young helps kids a lot. We need to make sure that we're working with them and problem solving at that early age. And above that, though, I agree. I really hate the school police. I don't like, not that I hate them. I hate that they are in buildings. I understand why they feel that they're necessary, but I wasn't a fan in Baltimore. I'm not a fan here. So I wish that we really need to hold some roundtable discussions and work with the community and come up with some solutions. And we really do also need to focus on the mental health of our students and our teachers, but a lot of our students too. That's, I think, we know that our students are lacking in mental health services, and that should be part of the intervention processes that we're doing.
That is true. So when we think about, you touched on mental health, and mental health is a big part of the pie in our Clark County School District, where children who need the help to, because the first thing they'll say, oh, that kid is just bad. But they're underlying issues. And it's my hope when you are elected, if you're elected, that that's something that you seriously look at to see how you can bring in measures that will help those students. Academic achievement. When we think about where our Clark County School District is on the spectrum, when in comparison to other cities, I think we're the fifth largest city in our school district. And when we look at academically performance, what strategies will you implement to improve academic performance in our schools? And Eileen, I'll have you start with that.
Again,
I can't hear you. Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Again, we have to look at our programs. We have to look at our intervention programs, and we need to look at what's not working. We can say, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But until we go back to the drawing board and say, why isn't our achievement going the way that it is? And what does that mean? Also, though, we do need to take a strong look at why our schools are last, and remember that we are a county that has a lot of challenges that other places don't, with a 30% transiency rate and just the different cultures and languages that we have here in Clark County. And so we need to keep all of that, in mind when we talk about it. And the kids are doing good things, and we do need to kind of amplify that a lot. When we see the good news about merit scholarships and winning competitions for quiz bowl and things like that, we really need to focus on the positive. But achievement starts with making sure that the staff is there, but also making sure that the early intervention programs and the interventions that go into place are working and they're effective. And so that's
Miss Henry.
Thank you so much. I feel like Eileen and I are echoing our answers, but it's serious. Like I can't say enough about early interventions. I really feel that kindergarten needs to be mandatory here. You know, those early investments in early childhood education, making sure that students are prepared for the K-12 world, but also literacy. Our literacy rates need to be improved for our students. If you're not literate, it's going to be really challenging for you to achieve in other academic areas. And so there needs to be a real focus, an intentional focus on ensuring that our students are literate. Um, because that third grade data point, if students aren't literate by third grade, they're 4 times more likely not to graduate. And that's a problem. So if we're talking about increasing graduation rates, it has to start early, with those interventions. Um, and also just making sure that students have the opportunity to be prepared for not only college, but for any career that they want to go into, and also into community. So I know for one of my students, college was not even like he wasn't interested. But if there were more trade schools that were available, something else that would capture his attention, that could be a viable option for those students who don't want to go to college. It's important that we do uplift the great things that are happening in our district, because we do hear that we're 48th and 49th in the
Mhm.
nation for education over and over again. But there are great programs here within our district. And I just feel that if we can replicate those, we would be in a better position. And so that's something that I want to focus on when I become trustee for District C.
Okay. So before we break, um, I want to give both of you first, thank you both for taking the time out from your campaigning in the critical time, because we're in the middle of early voting, to sit with us this afternoon. And so for 2 minutes, please tell our audience, our viewers, why we should vote for you, District C, District B, the Clark County School District. So I'll start with B. So I'll start with you, Miss Henry.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you all. Again, I'm running for District C on the Clark County School Board. This area is North Las Vegas, certain parts of the historic West Side. I go as far west as Cheyenne and Durango. It's a huge district, but um, I have been in this community doing work for years around education and early childhood education. I have experience. I have been serving on the Head Start board here locally for nearly 15 years. I also am a trustee with the North Las Vegas Library District and several other boards that are mission driven and education based. I'm the best candidate for this position because I really have a heart for this community. I've raised my family in Las Vegas, born and raised here, raised my family. My students went to Clark County School District, and I know that great things come from this district. I want this for all students. And so I am leaning on you for your support to be your next trustee in school on CCSD School Board in District C. This is my life's work, and I want to continue it by providing service to this community. So I thank you.
Um, I am District B again, which is the north part. Actually, Tamika and I bump up against each other, and so our districts are right next to each other. But I am a career educator. I've been working with students and families for 30 years now. I was in the classroom for 15 years, and then 2 decades where I wasn't teaching. 2 decades total. I was an assistant, and I worked as a paraprofessional in the years I wasn't teaching. I've taught everywhere from inner city Baltimore to the rural South, and we've been here in Clark County for 10 years now. And at my heart, I'm a family organizer, and I'm running for school board because I believe educators should be making education policy. I believe putting teachers in the position that they're making decisions and empowering them in that way and giving them the time and the space to express their needs and meeting those needs is how we're going to move our country forward with education. We've been beating up our teachers for 3 decades now, and it's time that it stops. So that's one of the things that I would really like to work on. I want to help parents be more involved. I want to help figure out what we can do, where we can fill in those gaps and figure out how we can all work together. This is my passion. I believe that we can really make this a place where we're first in the country. We have the resources in this state. We have the money that comes in. We have the ability to really make some changes here in Clark County and for the better. And I'm excited to be a part of that. We are the first majority minority city in the country, and we have a chance here to show people this is how it's done. This is how we can reshape our curriculum. This is how we reshape our school district to become reflective of what our society looks like and what our kiddos' lives look like. So I hope that you'll consider voting for me, and I hope to earn your support for District B, which is the north part of the county. The northern parts of North Las Vegas, all the way from the mountain to Mesquite, though, north of Ann Road. And thank you so much.
Thank you both for joining me this afternoon. We wish you well. So get back to canvassing, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining. And just before I log off, I want to remind you that early voting goes from now until June 7th, with Election Day, June 11th. I'm Jo Cato. I'm the chair of the Political Action Committee for the African Chamber of Commerce. And we would like to invite you to join the African Chamber. You can visit us at acctlv.org to learn more about our organization. We are a growing organization. The Chamber was launched 5 years ago. We're a growing organization, and our membership goes across several sectors. So we would love for you to join us to see what we are doing and to join the movement. But while you're joining the movement, make sure that you register. If you're not registered to vote, you can register to vote on the very same day that you vote. And when you go to the polling station with your ballot, or if you're going to vote on site without a ballot, just make sure you bring 1 or 2 neighbors with you. And again, thank you so much for spending the afternoon with us at the African Chamber. Visit us online to learn more about the African Chamber, and we catch you next time. Have a great afternoon.